Tens of thousands of Egyptians have gathered in central Cairo for one of the largest demonstrations since the ousting of Hosni Mubarak. They're calling for a speedy transition to democracy and an end to military rule. This comes a month ahead of presidential elections, which many say have been mismanaged by the current interim government. Mike Hanna is live in Cairo. Large crowds behind you, Mike. The anger at the military leadership still quite palpable.
Indeed, yes, Gita. A massive crowd here, one of the most inclusive gatherings that has been in Tahrir Square for a number of months. More than 20 political parties and political movements are officially represented at this gathering, the largest number for a long period of time. And anger, yes, anger at the military being expressed, anger from some sectors about the fact that their candidate was left out of the presidential election, 10 candidates being barred from taking part by the Electoral Commission in recent days. So there is a degree of common demand here, a degree of unity, but also each of the factions, each of the parties has its own agenda that it has been pushing in the course of the day, Gita.
I was just going to ask you about that level of unity. I mean, to what extent do you think there is a common message reflected in some of the slogans, some of what the crowds have been demanding for a while now, Mike, which is that the generals hand over power to civilians, but also that former regime members be barred from the next presidential elections?
Well, the one point of absolute unity is that all remnants of the Mubarak regime cannot be allowed to take part in the future political process. Another common demand that the military must be watched, that it must hand over executive power before the end of June. People came together in prayer. They listened together to a prominent imam from the neighboring mosque making an impassioned plea for unity to the crowd. But after that, they went off into different sectors. The ultra-conservative Salafi group in one area, the Muslim Brotherhood in another area, those who define themselves as secular liberals in another area. So while they are saying that they are one hand, that popular slogan very prominent in the revolution, each of these groups has a different agenda, has a different political loyalty, and has a different political aim. This is why this is different from rallies that took place after and during the revolution. What is happening now is an Egypt that is clearly politically defining itself, and in that definition there is degrees of division within a populace that fought that revolution together, Gina.
Thanks, Mike. Mike Hanna in Cairo. The US NGO Invisible Children has declared Friday a virtual international day against Joseph Kony. He is the notorious head of the Lord's Resistance Army from Uganda, who became the target of the video Kony 2012.